McDonald's suspends business in Russia. Here's why it's a big deal. How Zelensky is using social media to dominate the information war. How the letter Z became Russia's pro-war symbol. These are the women choosing to stay and fight Russian forces. Ukrainian President Zelensky, we will fight until the end. Biden, Americans will not be part of subsidizing Putin's war. How a fish, a journal and 5 minutes made Poppy Harlow a better parent. State senator breaks down in tears while debating Don't Say Gay bill. WNBA star arrested in Russia on drug charges. He's in a corner. Expert breaks down Putin's nuclear threats. Mom, I am alive. See one mother's reaction after finding son. Western allies move to cut Russian energy imports. What may happen to the economy as gas prices continue to rise? January 6 rioter found guilty on all counts. DeSantis confronts reporter as students' statewide protest Don't Say Gay bill. Is Joe Biden making a political comeback? McDonald's suspends business in Russia. Here's why it's a big deal. How Zelensky is using social media to dominate the information war. How the letter Z became Russia's pro-war symbol. These are the women choosing to stay and fight Russian forces. Ukrainian President Zelensky, we will fight until the end. Biden, Americans will not be part of subsidizing Putin's war. How a fish, a journal and 5 minutes made Poppy Harlow a better parent. State senator breaks down in tears while debating Don't Say Gay bill. WNBA star arrested in Russia on drug charges. He's in a corner. Expert breaks down Putin's nuclear threats. Mom, I am alive. See one mother's reaction after finding son. Western allies move to cut Russian energy imports. What may happen to the economy as gas prices continue to rise? January 6 rioter found guilty on all counts. DeSantis confronts reporter as students' statewide protest Don't Say Gay bill. Is Joe Biden making a political comeback? CNN, Brittney Griner, the star basketball player detained in Russia over alleged drug charges, has become the latest of several Americans who have yet to secure their freedom from a country increasingly isolated from the rest of the world. Russia's invasion of Ukraine brought forth global condemnation from governments and peoples alike, who have since boycotted Russian goods, frozen Russian access to banking systems and enacted crippling sanctions. And amid the growing economic repercussions, families and supporters of Griner and other detained Americans, like Trevor Reed and Paul Whelan, are working to free their loved ones as diplomatic channels fade. Russian authorities said Griner had cannabis oil in her luggage while in a Moscow airport last month and accused her of smuggling significant amounts of a narcotic substance, an offense punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Reed and Whelan were arrested and convicted for alleged crimes they've emphatically denied well before the Russian incursion of Ukraine, and the pair remain in prison serving extended sentences denounced by U.S. officials as unfair. Here's what we know so far about their detentions. 3 Americans detained in Russia, from left to right: Brittney Griner, Paul Whelan and Trevor Reed. Griner's whereabouts have not been shared by authorities. Griner, a 2-time Olympic basketball gold medalist, is a star player in both the US and Russia and has been a regular centerpiece in the successes of her teams, the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury and Russian club UMMC Ekaterinburg. Many details of her detention in Moscow remain in question, including the exact date of the arrest and her current location. Those close to Griner have expressed their frustration over the detention and lack of clarity provided by Russian authorities. In an Instagram post, Griner's wife, Cherelle, described the agony of waiting. "There are no words to express this pain. I am hurting, we're hurting," she said. Brittney Griner. Why so many WNBA stars play basketball overseas? The Biden administration is working on getting Griner out of Russia, members of the Congressional Black Caucus said after meeting with President Joe Biden. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, who represents Griner's hometown of Houston, said in a statement she spoke of Griner during the meeting and noted there is a need for her to be immediately released and for her to receive the help of the United States to demand and facilitate that release. But a U.S. representative cautioned to CNN on Monday that getting her home is going to be very difficult. Our diplomatic relationships with Russia are non-existent at the moment, Representative John Garamendi, a member of the House Armed Services Committee, said. The state-owned Russia 24 channel said this photo of Brittney Griner was taken at a police station. Reid family spoke with President Biden Tuesday. Reid, a former U.S. Marine detained in Russia since 2019, was sentenced to 9 years in prison in July 2020 for endangering the life and health of Russian police officers after a night of drinking, according to state-run news agency TASS. Russian authorities claimed Reid resisted arrest and attacked officers as they responded to complaints of a disturbance, according to Russian state-run news agency RIA Novosti. Alina Cybulnik, Reid's girlfriend who was with him that night, heavily disputed police allegations, telling TASS, "The police constantly change their story. In my opinion, Reid was too drunk to resist them." Parents of former U.S. Marine jailed in Russia speak out 523. Reid and his family have denied the charges, and U.S. Ambassador to Russia John Sullivan called the trial theater of the absurd after the 2020 sentencing. Joey and Paula Reid, Trevor's parents, spoke with Biden Tuesday shortly after waving at the president's passing motorcade in Fort Worth, Texas, the family. An attempt to set up a meeting with Biden ahead of the visit was declined, the family said, but Biden later spoke with them via phone. "I just can't imagine what you're going through," Biden could be heard saying on the cell phone speaker by a CNN producer and other reporters at the scene. "I don't want you to think that it's not something I constantly think about." Family of former U.S. Marine detained in Russia speaks with Biden after his Texas stop. The Reids grew emotional and stepped away from reporters for the remainder of the conversation with the president, but Paula Reid later shared details of the call, including that Biden told them he thinks of Trevor every day and that he feels horrible that he hasn't been able to bring Trevor home yet. And he said, "We're not going to stop." Trevor Reid has said in recent weeks that he is coughing up blood, and his family is concerned he has tuberculosis. Joey Reid said he spoke with his son as recently as Monday and asked Trevor if he wanted to pass along a message to Biden. He said, "I don't have anything to say to the president. I think that they have forgotten about me," Reid said. "We have not forgotten about him. We love our son and we're going to fight to our dying day to bring him home." Family pushes for Whelan's release. Paul Whelan, a U.S., Irish, British and Canadian citizen and former U.S. Marine, was detained at a Moscow hotel in 2018 and arrested on espionage charges, which has consistently denied. He was convicted and sentenced in June 2020 to 16 years in prison in a trial widely denounced as unfair by U.S. officials. In a call with CNN in June, Whelan described the grim conditions of the remote labor camp where he spends his days working in a clothing factory that he called a sweatshop, and said, "Getting medical care here is very difficult." Paul Whelan's family stays focused on his release as he nears 3 years in Russian detention. Whelan was getting through his plight day by day, he told CNN, and was trying to keep a positive mental attitude about the situation. His family said Whelan has been the subject of retaliation, including serving time in solitary confinement where he was not permitted to shower or exercise. Whelan's siblings have spent the past 3 years staying in contact with him and advocating on his behalf to lawmakers in Washington, D.C., and his sister, Elizabeth Whelan, lauded American officials in Moscow for their work. But the latest strain in relations between the two nations is likely to complicate. An unfortunate component about advocating for someone who is wrongfully detained is you have to make your presence known. There's always a crisis going on, and you have to keep reminding people that there is an American who is being held by a hostile foreign nation, often one that we have relations with of some sort, and that this situation has to end, Elizabeth Whelan told CNN in December. She praised her brother's perseverance, adding that he is bound and determined to survive this situation, and he is not going to give in to the Russians. He is not going to show weakness. CNN's Holly Yan, Lucy Kafanov, Rosa Flores, Wayne Sterling, Chris Boyette, Megan Vasquez, Ashley Killau, Ed Lavandera, Raja Razik and Jennifer Hansler contributed to this report.